Hi, thank you for joining us. And today I'm here with Erin Keenan, who is a marathoner, most recently a Boston Marathon finisher. Erin, let me start by asking you, how did you start running? What got you into it?
So thanks for having me, by the way. I started running, I couldn't tell you the year, but pretty much after college, I started running just as a way to stay into my athletics because I was always playing sports through school and college. And after that, I just needed something to keep me going, keep
Mhm.
me feeling kind of fit. So that's kind of how I started to run as a sport, I guess you could say. And then when I had my kids, I just got even a little more serious about it because it was like kind of my alone time, the sanity and the only time you had to yourself. So that's when it became like imperative.
Oh. And do you typically, is that how you approach running? Is it more your alone time, or do you run with other people?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, it started out as an alone thing.
Hmm.
Um, most of most of my, I would say, closest friends, not counting teammates, closest friends weren't really athletic and weren't into the running thing. So I did that mostly on my own. And definitely after having my kids, I did it by myself because it was early in the morning. I was getting up at 5 o'clock to try to get the run done before everybody was awake. So started out alone. I actually ended up meeting a couple other women who were running, and I would see them on the treadmill at the gym or something, and so I said, "Hey, let's hit the streets together." So
Hmm.
we did that. I did that with one friend specifically, and then we actually started a running group, like a training clinic, because we had a lot of people asking us, "I want to learn to run. I want to get out there. What do we do?" So we did something somewhat informal, and then it turned into a training thing. So we loved running together. We loved helping other people run. So I really went from being the lone wolf, to having a whole large group of people. It really grew. And now I'm back to running by myself
Hmm.
for the most part. I have one friend that I run with now, um, but mostly because of quarantine and things like that. Mostly solo.
Are there any races in particular that you're really looking forward to when things get back to normal?
Yeah, so for me, there's a Thanksgiving Day race that we run in town every year. It's just a local 5K called the Turkey Chase.
Mhm.
And I usually run that with my family. So most of the family. I have 4 kids and my husband. So we usually all will get out and run that day. And
Mhm.
it's just a really fun family tradition. So I don't think that's going to be happening this year. I think we're all going to really miss that.
Mhm. I don't know how old your kids are. Do any of them have an interest in running or
Yeah, so I have 4 children, and they are ages, 17, 16, 15, and 14.
wow.
So, yeah, they have they've grown up either watching me run, they're cheering me on at races, or, they'll run a little bit here and there. None of them are real avid runners at this point, but they'll hop into a local race now and then if the mood hits.
That's so great that they got to see your dedication to it. Um,
Yeah.
what would you say to somebody, and you've probably been in this situation, somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I know you're a runner. I'm thinking about trying it." What advice do you give them?
Definitely try it for starters. Um, a lot of people think they can't run. I
Hmm.
think I hear that a lot, but I think it's mostly just because you haven't tried or you're telling yourself you can't.
Hmm.
So, when we started people running, we always would start with really small intervals, something as tiny as 30 seconds. And that can be a lot for some people at first. But it's it's just get out there and get started. I think the hardest part is really just getting started.
Mhm.
So I would encourage anyone to at least give it a try and to be patient, I think. Be
Mm.
consistent.
And especially like the longer ones, do you have a certain routine that you follow the night before?
Well, I do. I try not to be too systematic because I try to be able to roll with the punches of everything. I think especially in a long race, you kind of never know what's going to happen. So I do try to keep that mindset and I try not to get too ingrained in a specific routine. But I do definitely I'll set out, what I'm going to wear. I do want to put my things out so I don't forget anything because
Mhm.
I'm a little bit scattered like that. I could forget anything. I leave my things everywhere. So yeah, it's good for me to put everything all in one place.
Mm.
But other than that, I just like to have a good meal, something delicious and not too heavy, of course, but something to fuel me well. And that's really it. A lot of mindset.
Mhm. Do you listen to music when you run?
I generally do. If I run with a friend, I won't obviously have music because we'll chat the whole way. But if I'm alone, I will always listen to music.
Mhm.
I I was worried when I got ready for Boston that I wasn't going to have enough like watch battery or my phone battery to have music through the whole thing. And what I found was that I didn't need it at all because Boston is so amazing and the fans were there and like you didn't want to miss any of that, the
Yeah.
crowd and the energy.
Yep.
So I didn't need it for that long race where I thought maybe it would be pretty important
Mhm.
and not needing it at all.
Mhm. And what do you like to listen to? Is there a particular kind of music, or are you just more, something upbeat or?
I feel like my music's kind of all over the place.
Mhm.
I like a lot of kind of like hip hoppy pop kind of stuff just to kind of get you
Mhm.
moving and excited. And I like some slower, even kind of more inspirational music. So yeah, I couldn't really nail down one
Mhm.
particular genre or anything. I like it all. Keep it fresh.
Yep. Yeah, that's how I am. It's kind of eclectic taste. And are there any, as far as like equipment, and particularly shoes, do you try a lot of different things? Are you brand loyal, stick with one type of shoe, or how do you approach that?
Well, for my sneakers, I have been wearing Nike Freeze forever. I I wish Nike would stop changing their Freeze because I mean, I do end up loving every pair, but like I would probably still be with their very first pair if they still made them.
Hmm.
I've tried other things. I've tried the Asics, the Saucony's, and the Brooks, but I like the minimal of the free. I like, it's I don't know, my foot just feet feel my feet feel good in those. It's easy for me to say, right? Yeah, so I'm very loyal to the Nike Freeze, even in the long distance. I've done all of my long runs, both marathons, all the long training runs in the Freeze, and I haven't had any issues. So it worked for me.
Cool. And what would you say, other than the fitness aspect of running, what would you say that running has brought to your life?
That's a loaded question, as I'm sure you know.
Yep.
Yeah, it's uh I mean, I couldn't even say enough good things about it, but for one, camaraderie, because even though I did start out solo, I met so many great people in trainings and even at races. I mean, now I'm friendly with Deer and Nisha just from running one race together.
Yep.
So being able to not only make friends, but for me, like to empower each other, like we are all trying to help each other. You're cheering each other on, and I feel like you're all a team, and you want to really see everybody feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty special.
Mm-hmm. You know, is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't talk about?
I would just say that if anybody wants to give running a try, get out there. And for all of us runners, we already know this, but running is a metaphor for life.
Mm.
And if you can do what you're doing running, you can really do anything. I think it translates over.
Great. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me and talking about running. Really appreciate it. Well, thank you so much.